Hey guys, welcome to our podcast where it has to be said. My name is Elvis.
And I'm Denise.
Babe, let's talk.
Why are you rushing me?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Let's talk.
Let's talk, guys.
Guys, it's been
A journey?
almost 3 weeks. Almost 3 weeks.
A journey.
Yeah, I blame Elvis.
I thought we were going to start on a positive note, babe. Come on, you already started negative. Let's start positive. We're here.
We're here. We're here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what counts. We're still here.
Yeah, we're still here. This takes work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. But let's not go into that. Let's go into the good stuff.
No, but it is, it ties into what we're going to talk about today anyway. But before we get into that, I do have, let's do a little quick question.
There we go.
To break the ice. You want like a light question or you want like a heavy exposed
You started
question?
too heavy. Let's start light.
Let's start light. All right. So then you pick one of the light ones.
Okay. And I'll ask you the question, right?
No.
Right? What you mean? No. I'm going to ask you the question. What are you talking about?
We can both answer it, I guess. Is it stupid? Because I don't even know.
Yeah, it's kind of... Okay, well, I'll let you answer this. What movie do you enjoy that most people don't?
Oh, that's...
For me, it will be very hard because I kind of like all movies.
I know movies that you won't enjoy. I can't speak for other people, but I know like anything that's rom-com, he's not really going to enjoy.
And I still watch it with you.
Not all the time, but...
Most of the time. Really?
I think my top movies are... If I had to pick like 2 rom-coms, would be 50 First Dates with Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore. And
we watched that with you. I watched that with you,
and
babe.
The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock.
I did watch
those
that
are
with
my
you.
like top movies to
I'm pretty
watch.
sure a lot of people like those movies, babe.
Often. Like it's one of those like if I'm feeling down or kind of having one of those days, like I'll rewatch that. Now, TV shows, I could say there's one that probably most people won't like, and that's Jane the Virgin.
Oh my gosh, I just hear that. It is Mario. Yeah, I hear that and I forget about it. I get annoyed with the voice.
Tito. All right, I'll pick the one. You not gotta hold it for me? I gotta hold it for myself?
Wait.
So you can answer now.
No, why?
Yeah.
Now you going to the tough questions now?
Oh, okay.
No, I'm supposed to ask you.
No, I'll just ask this one and then that's it. And then we'll go into the topic from this one. Because this is good. What new habit should we adopt together?
Okay, go ahead. Start first.
Oh, you.
No, I'll let you start first. Because you love that one.
Dale.
Go ahead.
Dale.
We could do so many different things differently.
Okay, what do you think we should start? It's about doing together, like get in the habit of doing together.
Yeah, I heard the question you asked. Yeah, I heard the yeah, I get it. No, I didn't understand it. So, no, answer it yourself. Answer it yourself. Go ahead, babe. Go ahead. It looks like you want to answer it.
We can adopt to not be spicy. I think being consistent with the podcast, we should adopt together.
I would agree with you 100%.
Oh, you handpicked the same one.
No. I think we should, and we've spoken about this so many different times, and we tried a lot of times. I think reading the Word of God together has been a challenge. Together, I think that would be good.
Why is that, Elvis?
I have no idea. I start with the idea and then encourage it. All of a sudden,
yeah, he'll be like, "Pick the book, Ma. Pick the book." I'm like, "All right, we're gonna do this book," and then I'm like, "Hey, what chapter we on?"
Yeah, but I guess the question was there for us to kind of remind ourselves that there is things that we could do to improve. So I really think that would be one that would benefit both of us.
I agree.
And we look things so differently a lot of times. So I think that would be 100% beneficial for both of us. I mean, I won't look at half of the things in the Bible the same way you look at it, and you won't look at it the way I look at it. So I think it would be 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we each have our strengths when it comes to Bible reading and interpreting. Um, you're very good with analogies. Like when we practice preachings or like I'm practicing preachings, I always get stuck
I don't even know why we even practice
in
because when you
getting.
preach, it never comes out the same.
I know, but like when you're preparing your text, right? When you're
Yeah.
preparing your points, get stuck at analogies, like trying to get life application to stuff. So he's very good at that. Me connecting pieces of the word to the other word, and that sense, I'm strong. But when it comes to like life connections, I'm like, you know what it
Yes.
is? You're so
So,
dramatic with it, so it just
thank you, baby. Thank you.
like it just makes it so much more, even more like impactful when you hear it in a preaching. Sometimes I say it and I'm like, oh, I wasn't
Well,
that.
I just think that every message is gonna be differently as well, right? Sometimes we're giving a word, even it doesn't have to be in church, just in general. Whenever you're giving a message, you kind of should have no type of expectation of whoever's receiving the message at the end, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we have expectations of how they're gonna react, and that kind of throws us out of the limbo when we don't get the reaction we thought we were gonna get. So I think it really comes down to that.
Yeah, but in order to make both of the
Mm-hmm.
suggestions we said happen, that requires what we're gonna talk about today: commitment.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's this book we have, "Marriage Ain't for Punks" by Calvin Roberson. So, one of the chapters he talks about marital CPR. So, today we're just going to talk about the commitment part, but the CPR stands for commitment, passion, and respect. And he says that every marriage should have that, especially when to build, right? The foundation for a
Mm-hmm.
healthy marriage, it should have these three components and can also help for like a reset, right? For relationships that are feeling rocky or kind of struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the first one is commitment, right? That's one of the first principles he says in his book, and that's he's basically saying it's vital to any successful marriage, commitment, because that's really ultimately when you get married you start on a
Absolutely.
commitment,
Yeah.
right? A vow, a promise, an oath to that person.
Even beforehand, when you get in a relationship with somebody, you also commit as well.
Yeah, yeah, the moment you say I'm separating myself for you, or whatever, at whatever capacity that looks like, but specifically he's talking about marriage. So he defines it as a state of being bound emotionally or intellectually to a course of action or to another person. So we can have various commitments. It's not just to a person.
Of course,
We commit to work. We commit to, I don't know,
the
the
podcast, the
podcast.
church, our leadership.
No,
We
but I'm
commit.
saying not we, like just me and you, but
No, I'm
people
saying
in
general. Yeah,
general.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. People in general. Our kids, right? If you're a
Yep.
father or mother, you commit to your kids. Right, and that's one of those commitments where it's like you kind of never say no as far as I'm gonna stop committing to being a father. Like I don't know somebody that says, "Oh, I don't want to be a father or mother anymore."
I
So
mean, there are people, but you're just not one of them, and you haven't been around people that.
I
But
guess yeah, I don't have
but there
anybody in
are
my
people
circle.
who have that lack of commitment, right? And it's important to be committed to your person day to day,
Of
right?
course.
Because not having that commitment makes you lose kind of the drive that
Mhm.
keeps you going in that relationship,
Of
right? Because
course.
commitment is through thick and thin,
Mhm.
right? And I had wrote it on a paper when I left work that commitment is basically saying even when I may be angry with you,
Mhm.
I'm still committed to this relationship, right? So, and I thought about it in the sense of like, for example, like let's say I'm picking up one of the girls from somewhere, right? Commitment means just because I'm upset at you, it doesn't mean I'm going to say, you know what, you pick up the kid, right? You do this, right? No, I'm still committing to my word. Like
Of
that's
course.
still my role and what I committed to in our relationship and our family function.
That's good. Oh, you want me to elaborate?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, The thing is, I don't want to go ahead because I kind of have a few points of what we read beforehand, so I kind of want to wait until the certain things that I want to touch base on.
Okay, so say it now.
Um, yeah, now you kind of threw me off. Um, One of the things I did like, or one of the things that I always emphasize when we spoken about marriage and whatnot, was pointing out the divorce word.
Mhm.
Um, I like the fact that he said that that's something that we shouldn't put as a seed, and I even think about it as a seed. But just in general, I feel like if you're committed with somebody, especially your marriage, I feel like the divorce word shouldn't even pop in our mind, right? That shouldn't be. See, you're now like going to the next page because I kind of went ahead. But that's one of the things that I really want to touch bases on because a lot of people use that very lightly,
Mhm.
and you're truly just opening doors to things you don't want for your marriage, right? Because even when we had issues, I always said like divorce shouldn't be an option and you shouldn't just throw it out there lightly like okay, I'm just gonna divorce or I'm not gonna be with you anymore. Okay, let's just drop it, right?
Yeah.
uh because you were saying earlier that when you're with somebody you want to make sure that they're with you forever, so regardless of what happens, right? I feel like in the moments that we're going through the worst of the worst is the ones that are gonna actually make it stronger as a couple, as one, right? And you're like, okay, this is the one not only do I want to commit with, but I want to stay with because this freaking guy is with me regardless of what's going on, right? This person is with me with a job, without a job.
Yep.
That's why I feel like even before marriage, as boyfriend and girlfriend, you guys should go through struggle. If you guys been dating for 5 years, 10 years, 8 years, whatever, 1 year, and you guys never been through any struggles or any disagreements or anything, any type of temptation and stuff like that, then you really haven't like explored everything 100% because when you go through the struggle, when you go through the issues, when we don't agree, when we don't want to
Mhm.
talk to each other, when we don't want to even look at each other, that's when you actually develop a commitment with this person because you no longer are fighting for this person, but I no longer want to give up because it's gonna cost me too much
Yeah.
to stop now, right? I'm not saying stay with somebody that's hurting you physically, that's hurting you emotionally. What I'm saying is when you're with somebody and you know this is the right person, it comes a time where you're like, it's gonna cost me more to just stop, right? And to look
Yeah.
back rather than just moving forward. I mean, it's not easy, right? If you look back, it's not easy. It may look easy, but it's going to cost you more. All the progress that you have done in this relationship, if you stop now, if you give up now,
Yep.
if you're saying divorce is an option now, right? If you're married, then you're going to lose everything you invested, all those years, all that time, all those tears, all that prayer, all that seeking, all that change internally. Because when you guys become one, there's a lot of changes that has
Mhm.
to happen. It's not like we get married and that's it. No, we continue changes even now. 15 years in, we're still changing to how could I be better for you and how could you be better for me and how could we help each other? But I'm committed to this. I'm gonna make this work. There's no option of just putting a pause on this, because I look back and we paid too much to stop now.
Yep.
It's gonna cost us a lot more. I'm not looking back.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna look to what's forward. And moving forward could even cost yeah, sorry. Could even cost us, but we're gonna move forward.
Yeah. And it's true what you said that it really starts from even dating in the relationship,
Yeah.
right? Um, Seeing those patterns of if you start dating someone and they quickly just say, "Oh, let's just break up then."
Yeah.
If you're breaking up every other week, then that's already a red flag that if you decide to take that next step of legal commitment,
Yeah.
that they're who's to say they're not going to bring out the D word, in the marriage. And I like what it says that when you plant the seed of possibly leaving, it'll grow without or with further nurturing. So,
Hmm.
meaning whether you bring it up again,
Yeah.
you already put you
Yeah.
planted that thought, and then you like automatically lose some form of interest,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if you already feel like, oh, I already have another option,
Mm-hmm.
I have somewhere else I can go, then there's no need to deposit or make this work for us, right? It's like and we said in other episodes the idea of the grass is greener on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
The grass is green where you nurture and water it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to realize and kind of learn, not that I know about grass and
I know
planting,
about planting
but
grass. I do.
You can fix the environment
Of course.
that is causing you can fix what's causing it to not grow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's the same thing with a marriage. You have to examine, right? There's things to test out the soil, right?
Yes, yes. Oh, you got it, babe. You're learning,
And it's the same way with your marriage. You have to test, okay, what's the underlying issue, right? What is not working? And when I think of this, I think of Love is Blind,
Mm-hmm.
the Morenito Clay, right?
Mm-hmm.
How he was about to make a commitment to this girl, AD, and then right at the altar, he's like, I can't do it, right? Now that you reflect on it, we like, oh, that's messed up and whatever. But he wasn't able to commit.
Yeah.
And he was able to at least say,
He still could have said it before going to the altar.
I agree. I 100% agree. But he was able to say that before he committed to marrying her and then failing her throughout their whole marriage,
Yeah.
right? But there was a root, right? And he had to get to that root, which is he grew up with a father who cheated. He grew up exposed to that. He grew up going on trips with his father, seeing other women. Like he grew up in that environment. So that fear of maybe I'm the same person as that was the underlying issue, right? It's the same way in every marriage. We have to figure out what's going on, right? And, sticking just to at least just the idea of commitment, who or what am I committing to that is not my partner?
Of course.
Because when you get married, you and your partner become one, right? You become one unit. That's your now immediate family, right? And it's not dad, it's not mom, it's not siblings. And sometimes families don't understand that part, right? But it's up to you to start setting that boundary in that relationship that I'm not going to disrespect my mother, right? I would never, right? If my mom genuinely needs me, right, I will be there for her. But my priority, my responsibility, my commitment is to you. And obviously the girls.
No, I know what you're saying.
That's where you have to start first under addressing who is my commitment to? Am I spending more time at work? Am I spending more time even at church, right? Because there's a lot of couples that are in ministry that their relationship is not thriving or is not doing well because they're not committed to each other.
They're more
right?
committed to church than what they
To
are
church,
to
right?
their...
And I'm not saying not committed to God, because God always comes first, meaning your
course.
relationship with God, nurturing that relationship always comes first. But the serving part, the work, right? That shouldn't trump the person that you establish, because that's the order,
Of course.
right? It's God, your partner, your marriage, right? And then the ministry. That doesn't, it's not that above the other, right? So addressing that is like the key. Is like underlining what am I committing to? What am I giving the time to? Because that's going to trickle down and affect the relationship.
Yeah, but I feel like most people, if you look at that topic alone of the church, most people think that if they continue doing their church commitment, right, responsibilities, God would do the rest, right? He would take care of my wife, or he would take care of my husband and fix him or her, but not knowing that they carry baggage even before. Who knows if you got in that relationship and God never even told you to get in that relationship. This is not a God fixed problem. This is a you fixed problem. Yeah. And he or she is not going to want to get closer to God if he sees that you're more committed to the church and not even committed to him or her, right?
Yeah.
And think about it, because they're going to grow a grudge against the church. Do you think I want part of this? If they're so good as a church, they should tell her or him to spend time with me, right? To invest in me, because when she or he went to the altar, it was with me, not with the church. And again, I'm not against the church or nothing, because I'm for it, right? But there has to be a balance as well, right? If I'm not, church is for the whole entire family, but if you're with somebody that's not there at this particular moment, it's good to go to church, but you also got to invest in your family at home and show that partner of yours that you do have a commitment, whether he or she is where they're supposed to be now. That doesn't matter, because you're committed to them, right? You said yes to them.
Yeah. Then that's regardless if they go to church or not.
Of course.
And a perfect example is when you said that, I thought about, the Bible does say to seek first the kingdom of God,
Of
right?
course.
Seek God first, right? Seek his righteousness, seek his truth, preach the word of salvation, right? And everything else will be added. But let's be real, right? If I'm only at church doing ministry, focused in that, and my partner has physical needs, because we've talked about different needs, he different needs he has, different needs I have as a woman. His one of his needs is physical touch and intimacy. Who's giving him that when I'm 24/7
In church.
in church and in ministry, right? Then that's another layer, because it leaves another door open to temptation,
Yeah.
right? And it doesn't have to be church. It could be the same thing with work, right? Too much time, too much of something is a bad thing,
Of
right?
course.
And so we have to kind of be mindful of where our commitment is,
Mm-hmm.
and remember that when we're in a marriage, that this is priority.
Yeah, and also examine your relationship, man. Like, if you was to look at your relationship with the outside, are you committed? Because a lot of times we look at our relationship and we're like, oh, well, she could do this better, he could do this better. What could you do better
Mm-hmm.
to show that you're committed, that you're 100% in on this, regardless of the results? You are gonna give it your all.
Yep.
If I have to change, if I have to do better, whatever it is, I'm in for it, right? And does your partner know that? Right? Because if you was to talk about me, you would be able to know, oh, yeah, Elvis does this, Elvis does this, Elvis does this, Elvis is involved in this, because I'm shown that I'm committed to this
Mm-hmm.
relationship. I'm shown that your victories are my victories are your victories,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because a lot of times we think it is I, me, and that's it. But it's really about us,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because the progress is going to be for both of us. It's not going to be for one of us. And this progress could be in different ways. It could be financially, spiritually, it could be just in general of being the person that God calls us to be, right? We just want to progress to what God wants us to actually do in this world.
Yeah. And ultimately, ending the relationship doesn't really resolve what was the
Of
problem.
course
And
not.
then what happens is, and we've spoken about it before, is that you're just simply then creating a baggage now that you transfer to another
Of course.
relationship, right? So you haven't identified or worked on the areas that you may need fixing, but then you also have the bad taste of what that relationship left. And now you go into other relationships where, oh, I'm never going to allow this man to do this, blah, 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 again, or I'm never going to get with another woman that's going to, an XYZ, right? And so then ultimately no problems resolve.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is you begin to create barriers, right? Or walls that don't allow for someone else to come in, or when they do come in, then you're on defense mode, and then again all these things resurface, right? Because they were never addressed and resolved.
They never examine
Mm-hmm.
themselves. That's why I said you have to really examine yourself to see if you're truly committed or not, right? If you're really think about it, even beforehand, right? And we spoke about this before. When you're dating, are you with somebody that has a job that's good financially, that it's independent? Okay, great. Wait until that person loses their job to see how they react to a loss,
Yep.
right? They have their family members all good. Wait until one of them is going through a health issue to see how
Mm-hmm.
they react to that. I'm not trying to seek any bad for anybody, but when people go through those things, you know what level of commitment they have with you, with their family, and what level of commitment they are as a person. Like how strong are they when the issues come by? There somebody is like, okay, this is not gonna work. I'm just gonna quit. Or there's somebody that's gonna fight for what they believe in. You want somebody that's gonna fight.
Not someone that says, oh, I didn't sign up for this, right?
Exactly.
Because there's gonna be always
Of
issues.
course.
There's gonna be conflicts when you commit to one person. Yes, you're committing to that one person, but there's also the truth that you also commit to their
Of
families, to their
course.
baggage, to their
Of
ties.
course.
You're not gonna be with them 24/7, but you're gonna have moments where you're faced or forced to interact with
Of
them.
course.
So you can't just be like, oh, I didn't sign up for this, right?
Not
Or
only that, but you don't want them to feel bad, right? Think about it. If I
mm-hmm,
was to treat your family bad, how would you feel, right? Or if you was to treat my family bad, how would I feel? And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm gonna do this and that. No, just a simple fact of not trying to do better with them, right? Not try to build a relationship when they're around, right? I love when you're with my family around. If anything, that makes me feel great. So you're making your partner feel bad if you're not even trying to do a relationship with them, right?
yeah. And it's all about putting in work.
Of
And I
course.
like that he says that because he says commitment is a constant decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a one-time choice. So it's not when you said only I
It's
do.
a lifetime.
It's every day you build on the decision you made the day before, right? So, and he talks about it being, you know, it's not about feeling commitment, is just knowing that this is what you said you're going to do and fulfilling it, right? Because he says feelings are fleeting, right? So you can feel one way that today and feel the other tomorrow. So it's doing it not based on your feelings, but to do it because it's a choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that this is what you want to do when you love someone and when you're committed to them, that it becomes something habitual, that it's almost instinctive to care and be there for someone else. So I did like that he says that you don't have to feel
Yeah,
the commitment.
if we go by our feelings, forget about it. Today I want to fight, tomorrow I don't, because we're emotional sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And he says also not to disregard the feelings,
Yeah, because we're
right?
emotional
Because
beings.
we're emotional. But that's why your relationship also has to be in a good foundation, right? If it's in a good foundation
Yeah.
where it doesn't shake, where it doesn't move, where it doesn't matter what comes through, you're gonna stay there. Then you're in a good place.
Yeah, because feelings when you first get with someone, you're like in the honeymoon, oh,
Of
the
course,
high
butterflies and all that.
and everything. But when things feel complacent, when things feel ordinary,
Which is okay. We could
yeah,
also feel like we're in a honeymoon stage all the time. That's how we should be, right? It's not all we're 10 years in, that's it. We should always feel the butterflies and this and that.
but that requires commitment though.
And there's gonna be issues sometimes where
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna not always feel like
Yeah,
that.
like oh, they went away.
Yeah.
But commitment is the foundation to the marriage, right? And he talks about like ways that you can prove that you're committed to the
Hmm.
relationship and kind of show the person you're with like I'm not leaving, right?
Yeah.
Like you can feel how you feel, but I'm not leaving. And I think that when we experienced the time that we almost I think we've had different seasons in our
Of
lives.
course.
So even after that one, we've had moments where we didn't maybe necessarily speak about separating, but we weren't at our best and there was a lot of friction.
Of course.
But there was always one that kind of gave off the like, look, I'm not going anywhere, right? And one of the ways that we kind of showed commitment was never sleeping outside of our bed.
Hmm.
I don't think there's been
Nobody. I never slept on the couch.
ever a time that
Never.
we slept on the couch. There's been times that I've probably cried a little bit on the couch.
A lot of times.
And then I
And
went
when
to
she come
bed.
back, I'm snoring.
Yeah, so yeah. But
I was committed. I was gonna stay.
that kind of shows your commitment, right? Cuz once you start doing the sleeping out of the bed, you're kind of saying I got a
You're
one leg
planting
out.
that. No, you're planting that seed again. Once you start sleeping on the couch, once you start, okay, I'm gonna sleep over. I don't know, my friend's house for
Mhm.
now, right? You're opening a door or you're planting a seed that eventually is gonna grow, and you don't want to put up with that stuff.
Yeah. And then it talks about some other like ways of showing that you're committed, and it's like even by verbally saying like I'm not going anywhere. Like
Yeah.
letting your partner know you're not
Well,
going
you said that
anywhere.
before to me.
Well,
I ain't going anywhere. Said
but I don't know
no,
if I
no.
meant it like
Yeah,
for us.
you ain't going. You said it before, not recently, but you have said
No,
it in
not
the
anytime
past.
soon. Right now I'm
Yeah,
like
you're living in the
mm,
bubble, babe.
yeah.
Say the truth, say the good stuff.
He makes me upset, guys.
Yeah,
Don't let us fool you.
I think it's work. I think
He makes
work
me upset,
gets
but we're
to
committed.
you know what it is. I like getting upset sometimes. I'm gonna be honest.
I don't know, but anyway, so other ways to commit is also by he talks about even as simple as setting goals, right? So like if something has if quality time has been lacking, like setting date, being more active and setting date
Of
nights,
course,
um, setting goals of like vacation where you're both committed and kind of working towards that. He says like joint bank account shows a form of commitment. Um, Buying a house. There's different ways he says creating traditions. I like that he said as a family,
yeah,
kind of create to make that commitment. Like, oh, I there's this thing we're gonna be doing on a
I
yearly
like that a lot.
basis.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I like the
Yeah, I like that when he said that.
the tradition.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
I didn't think about that as a way of commitment. Like,
yeah.
oh, every year we're gonna do
It's probably because
this
that's the only
together.
one we haven't really like done all the time. I mean, we have like the holidays who we visit and who we hang out with most of the
We have
time,
things we do regularly, but
but we
I
don't
don't know
have.
if they're traditions.
Yeah, we don't have like a tradition of us that oh this is our thing. We never done it. We should do it this year in the holidays.
It doesn't have to be a holiday. It could be like a mid-year thing. Like
That's
it's
it.
just something that's for you
Yeah,
and your partner and like your house, right? Like
yeah, the
something that's
house.
you guys. Um I mean, I think, because when this airs we're going to be, God willing, in Florida. So I think that's not that it's a tradition, but it was a form of commitment for us to commit for it just being a trip for the
Oh,
four of
that
us.
yes. We said we only want a trip for us. And really enjoy it. Not only that, but we try to travel at least once or twice a year too. So which we have been committing within the past few years, right?
Yeah, thankfully can't complain about that. So there's ways to show commitment. That's the point in that, and that's how he kind of ends in the commitment is also like even he even said as simple as avoiding questionable friends of the opposite sex,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's basically commitment is if there's things that your partner needs, being willing to do that, right? That's really what it comes down
Mm-hmm.
to. If your partner is saying, I'm not liking this, or this is making me feel this way, can we do something different? Commitment says, regardless of the part that wants to kind of contradict and kind of fight back and give the but, says, you know what, let's work on that. That's what commitment is. And it helps bring a new spark to the relationship. There's nothing like having someone not give up on you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing like having a feeling that no matter what, no matter how ugly it can get, or no matter how ugly I can get, right? Because we're people and we're
Of course, of
complex.
course.
To know that there's someone that's always gonna stick by your side, and what better way than your partner who you vow to or hope to spend the rest of your life with.
Yeah. And I think also we want to make sure that you could always feel confident as far as that. Like I want to make sure you never doubt that I'm committed to you 100%. I think that should be our goal always. I'm committed to you, babe.
I'm committed to you too.
It's a good talk.
Despite the craziness, we're still here. It was a good talk. It had to be said.
And it was said. Take care, guys.
Bye.